Cinema has always been criticized for not giving women significant roles in many films, and it's true. There are cases where women are only there to fulfill the romantic purpose of the main character, who is often a man, or just to be one of the daughters, one of the mistresses, and so on. But this time, I want to highlight some of those female characters who are truly iconic in cinema, either because the movie is outstanding, the character itself is iconic, the actress gives a spectacular performance, or they are the protagonists of the stories. So grab your popcorn and 3D glasses, because this is District Flicker, and the show is about to begin. The Bride, Kill Bill. Let's start with one of the most iconic characters you're sure to remember as a born fighter, especially considering she was created by Tarantino. The Bride, a woman capable of standing up to anyone and anything to get what she wants. A character as strong as she is noble, whom we can see bravely facing an army, and, scenes later, being a loving mother. Guido had such a cultural impact that in 2013, a new species of wasp was named Sixtomas estacoid in his honor. Black Widow, Marvel. There may be some disagreement about what I'm about to say, but we can't exclude Natasha Romanoff, yes, the magnificent Black Widow, from this list. The reason I say there might be some disagreement is that, first of all, she's a comic book character, not a big screen one, and others don't think her solo movie was that good. But if we're being realistic, this is one of the most important and beloved characters in the Marvel Universe. In addition to Scarlett Johansson's impeccable portrayal, Black Widow has managed to shine in other hero movies, but as a heroine, she has done a remarkable job. Despite having no powers, a shield, or a suit with weapons, she has managed to take on major threats using only her espionage skills and a pair of guns. Scarlet Witch, Marvel. Although we could take this opportunity to discuss other characters who have broken the internet, Wanda, also known as the Scarlet Witch, has proven to be one of the most powerful characters in this universe. To the extent of confronting and destroying the most powerful hero organization in a universe, and being a threat to many others, controlling an entire city using only her mind, and managing to intimidate the threat that wiped out millions of living beings, Thanos. All for the purpose of alleviating her pain and seeking revenge. Carrie. On the other hand, we can say that powers are not only seen in superhero movies, but characters with supernatural abilities are also common in horror genre films. However, none in the history of cinema has managed to convey as much as Sissy Spacek's Carrie, the first big-screen adaptation of a Stephen King work. Usually, these kinds of stories have clear villains and heroes, but Carrie White was something beyond conventionalism, a character capable of being both heroine and villain, victim and perpetrator, capable of inspiring sympathy moments after becoming a truly disturbing young woman, a combination as unrelenting as it is disturbing. Sarah Connor. The seventh art had already shown us heroic women in science fiction, fantasy, and horror, but it wasn't until 1984 that it did so in action cinema. Unlike the typical protagonist of these films, Sarah Connor was not a flat character. She underwent a transformation from an ordinary girl to a gorilla ready to save the world. The hopeful yet effective premise that anyone can become a hero was reflected in 1980s cinema in few other ways than in the character of Connor, a woman of character and determination who managed to emerge as the true protagonist of a saga that remains relevant to this day. The Heathers, 1989. Now let's talk about a girl who managed to take down the popular girls. We all know Regina George, along with her minions Sharon and Karen from Mean Girls, and also Candy, but let's not focus on this diabolical trio right now, but on the original and the one that served as the main basis for this dynamic trio that we have seen in many series and movies, the Heathers and Veronica Sawyer. You might ask, what does this have to do with the topic? Well, the movie Heather marked the beginning of the iconic girls who dominate the entire school, as seen in Glee, Scream Queens, Wizards of Waverly Place, and many others. Heather was one of those movies that few take into account, but it gave great prominence to girls and centered all the drama around them. Now, if we focus on who is the strongest girl in this group, I'd say Veronica, because she killed the most important girl in school, the two bullies, and her boyfriend, who was the one who planned all the murders by controlling her. So with her will, she took control of the situation and eventually took on the mantle of group leader. Holly. We also have Holly, who was a spontaneous, rebellious, and innocent girl, a character far from the stereotype of the ideal woman of the time. However, this character was an icon not only in the cinema, but also for Givenchy. The black dress she wears in the opening sequence of the movie is considered an iconic garment of the 20th century and the most famous black dress of all time, surpassing even the one worn by Rita Hayworth in Gilda. You may never have seen this movie, and you may not even know who the actress who stars in it is, but the significance of this figure is such that you have undoubtedly seen a picture of Audrey Hepburn looking elegant at some point in your life. Although Gone with the Wind is a 1939 movie, the thoughts and motivations of Scarlett O'Hara, brutally portrayed by the iconic Vivien Leigh, remain relevant today. A character who represented feminism when no one was talking about feminism, who did not try to be charming and submissive, as all women were supposed to be at that time, who refused to follow what was imposed on her by society. And if that wasn't enough, this character gave us some of the most iconic scenes and lines in classic cinema. After all, tomorrow is another day.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Clarice Starling. Clarice Starling is recognized and remembered to this day, despite sharing the screen with Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, thanks to Jodie Foster's sublime performance and excellent character construction. Clarice functioned as the antithesis of the villain, a good and brave woman who, despite the many ghosts of her past, the biggest obstacle in her path was not a cannibal or a serial killer, but a world controlled by men, against which she never gave in. Capable of overcoming a troubled childhood and shining brighter than anyone else in what she wanted and how she wanted. Cinema needs more real-life heroines like Clarice. Ellen Ripley. There is a before and after Ellen Ripley when it comes to movie heroines. It is true that atypical female characters had been seen on screen before, but the depth and shape of this one forever changed the perception of women in a genre that had previously only featured men. Ripley is a woman who shows character and determination from her first scenes, brave and intelligent, tender and tough. One of the most important, interesting, and revolutionary characters in the world of cinema. Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins as a movie is incredibly important, but Mary Poppins as a character is unforgettable. A limited image that has been honored countless times throughout history and has inspired countless filmmakers and novelists. Poppins has remained in the hearts of young and old for over half a century, and will continue to do so thanks to her example, which leaves us with a great life lesson. Love and intelligence are enough to make the world a better place. Such is her importance in popular culture that August 29th is celebrated as Mary Poppins Day. Dorothy. In a time of war and economic stagnation, Americans dreamed of escaping their reality. That's when the character of Dorothy appeared, a girl who found a place over the rainbow where all her problems were left behind, where everything was happier and more colorful. Dorothy helped the world overcome its fears, represented the hope of an entire people, and to this day, more than 80 years after her screen debut, she remains an icon of freedom, a female icon not only of cinema but of popular culture. The cliché of the damsel in distress whose only salvation is her prince was forgotten when Princess Leia came into the world. One of the great heroines of the seventh art, a strong woman capable of standing on her own, and it's something we see advancing today, like Princess Peach from the Mario Bros. Movie, and even Fiona, who from the first Shrek movie went from being a damsel in distress to an ogre who fights her battles and overthrows her enemies. The world of cinema and entertainment has never been the same after her, and yet no one has been able to create a character as iconic as her. Creating a formula that even Disney has tried to replicate, leaving promises and princes in the past, and creating a dynasty of queens who fight for their duty, like Pocahontas or even Mulan. In more recent cases, we have Elsa. That's why we should admire these characters, because few productions bother to create such girls, at least iconic ones. Of course, we don't want something forced, someone empowered for no reason. And that's it, but deep stories and solid foundations with a clear personality. But that's my humble opinion. Now it's your turn to comment below what you think and which characters you would add to this list. If you liked the video, don't forget to comment and share, as well as activate the bell so you don't miss anything. Leave your awesome like and see you in the next show. Bye.